Hello and welcome to the Golf Ireland pod. I am your host Stephen Murphy, delighted to be here with you. Thank you once again for tuning in, we really do appreciate it. And it's the last show of 2023, the last podcast, which is obviously very sad for everyone here at Golf Ireland, but it's been an absolutely fantastic year. We appreciate you all listening throughout the year, and we also wanted to list some of the highlights of the year, because it has been a great year for Golf Ireland and for amateur golf within Ireland and abroad. We also have a great guest. We have Liam Grehan on the podcast this evening. We'll get to our conversation with Liam soon, but I thought maybe it would be a good idea to look back upon the year and list some of the highlights that we've had, because we have had plenty, which has been fantastic. So Liam Nolan came from behind early on in the year to win the South American Amateur in Ecuador, with Max Kennedy finishing second. Roscommon's Olivia Costello claimed the Scottish Girls Open after a 4-shot win thanks to a strong final round. Sean Keeling came from 3 shots back to win the Scottish Boys Open Championship, making it a double for the Irish. Max Kennedy again claimed his first US collegiate win at the Aggie Invitational in Texas, and Matt McLean played at the Masters in Augusta. It was a great year for Matt, played in Augusta and also played at the US Open at LA Country Club. Brendan Lawler edged world number 1 Kip Popert by 1 shot to win the inaugural G4D Open at Woburn. Lauren Walsh clinched the winning point to help Wake Forest claim their first NCAA Division 1 title in Arizona. And Liam Nolan defeated Zach Little in a thrilling 3-hole playoff to win the 2023 Brabazon Trophy. Alex Maguire, it was the summer of Alex Maguire in many ways. He became the first player for 30 years to successfully defend the East of Ireland, where he bet Keelan Rafferty and Sam Murphy in a 3-hole playoff. He then cruised to a 5-shot win at the St Andrew Links Trophy to claim one of the biggest amateur prizes in the UK and Ireland. Alison Taylor eagled the last to win the Euro Senior Women's Championship in Douglas, while Eddie McCormick made it a double for the Irish that week with his 2-shot win in the men's. Speaking of Douglas, Douglas golfer Sarah Byrne claimed her second AIG Irish Women's Amateur Club Championship after an exciting final day at the Connemara Golf Links. And Alan Gaynor, who was on the show a few weeks ago, of County Sligo Golf Club, won the Irish Open for golfers with a disability at Roganstown. John Doyle and Caoimhe O'Grady are the Irish boys and girls closed champions after an exciting day at Monkstown. Anya Donegan captured the golfing world and made the cut at the US Open in Pebble Beach. Alex Maguire won the inaugural RNA Amateur Series. Ireland beat England 6-1 to claim bronze at the European Amateur Team Championship at Royal Waterloo. Warren's Point Cullum Campbell defeated Peter O'Keefe in the 121st South of Ireland Championship at Lahinch in just awful conditions. I was there that morning, so I can prove that the conditions were really bad. It was incredible golf on display that day in those conditions. So well done to Cullum. Luke O'Neill added his name to the Mullingar Scratch Trophy, while Robert Moran held off reigning champion Quinton Carew to secure the AIG Irish Men's Amateur Close in Malone. We also had the Walker Cup, where we had a huge Irish representation, the biggest of all the countries representing. We had Alex Maguire, Matt McLean, Liam Nolan and Mark Power on the team, while Keelan Rafferty was among the reserves. It was a brilliant accomplishment by all those golfers. We had Suzanne Corcoran and Alan Condren were crowned champions at the Irish Senior Women's Amateur Open and the Irish Senior Men's Amateur Closed Stroke Play, while Enda Quigley claimed the Veterans title in Powers Court. Ireland won the Triple Crown at the RNA Boys Home Internationals for the first time since 2013, thanks to a victory over England on the final day at Lindrick. Sarah Byrne at the KPMG Women's Irish Open finished on 4 under for the tournament to take low amateur honours at the event, a great event that it was. And 4 of Ireland's 7 amateurs made the cut at the KPMG Women's Irish Open, which is again a testament to the level of golf. Mark Power ended his professional debut birdie in the closing 2 holes to finish tied for 32nd at the Irish Open, the Horizon Irish Open at the K Club. Ireland fell to host Spain but won silver at the European Senior Women's Team Championship at the Parador El Salor Golf Club, which is again a brilliant event. Castle and Royal Portrush are crowned AIG Irish Senior Cup champions in Dunleary. Enniscrone golfer David Shield picked up the men's Bridgestone Ord Merit of title following a stellar 2023 campaign. Leon Maguire also helped Europe to Solheim Cup victory in Andalusia, which is absolutely brilliant. And Emma Fleming was capped off a brilliant season as she was crowned Bridgestone Order of Merit champion as well. We had Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry playing crucial roles as Europe won the Ryder Cup in Rome. Rory O'Connor and Aileen Walsh claimed their respective Irish mid-amateur championships in Port Ceylon. Sarah Byrne recorded her first NCAA win when she came out on top at the Pat Bradley Invitational, and she also made it back-to-back individual collegiate titles at the Hurricane Invitational, setting a 54 scoring record, on fire to finish the season, which is brilliant. And Ireland came back to seal tied 8 in the Eisenhower Trophy and their spot at next year's World Amateur Team Championships. In 2 years' time at the World Amateur Team Championships in Singapore. And finally, Rona Mullarney won the Alps Tour Order of Merit, winning the final event at the 2023 Alps Tour Grand Final. Again, all these amazing achievements is only merely scratching the surface, but it's great to highlight that, and isn't it great that we have so many highlights to go through as well. Just been a fantastic year for amateur golf in this country, and professional golf, and everything involved with Golf Ireland. But yeah, we have one more guest for this year. Liam Grehan, who is the assistant pro at the K Club, has also had a great year himself as well. So we'll throw it over to our conversation with Liam. I am now delighted to be joined by Liam Grehan. Liam Grehan is the assistant head pro at the K Club, and also a very, very talented golfer himself. Liam, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for joining me here on the Golf Ireland pod. How are you?
Good, Stephen. Thanks for having me on. Things are quieting down this time of year, so it's nice to be able to do something like this now.
Yeah, do you enjoy this time of year now? It's a bit less busy, or are you kind of itching to get back out and being busy again?
Do and I don't. I like staying busy, playing a lot. Like, golf in general gets very quiet this time of year. The weather's not quite conducive to playing and practicing a lot. So, look, it's I try and enjoy it as best I can this time of year, but I love the heat a bit more than this now.
Definitely, I think we're all in the same boat there, Liam, with the heat. But let's talk a bit about your journey first, Liam, before we get stuck into your pro career. Your journey into golf, how did you end up becoming a golfer? What was it that hooked you into the sport?
Yeah, well, I'm an only child, and both my parents played, and a lot of my family played. So I joined Mullingar when I was about 10. Got into it fairly quick. My cousin Sean O'Donoghue was actually the pro in Mount Wolseley, and he got into the Darren Clark School. So he was a few years older than me, and I always saw him kind of progressing and getting better. So I wanted to, I don't know, it just gave me the bug that we would have played a lot together and kind of challenged each other, and we're still doing that in the PGA ranks now. So that's kind of what brought me into it a good bit, and it's actually still going that way at the minute. So.
And what is it about the golf game in general? Because we all have an obsession for this game to a certain degree. What is it about? Is it the individuality of the sport? Is it the technicality of the sport? Or is it just, it's just a sport you grew to love?
I suppose, like, playing in Mullingar growing up, we've obviously the Mullingar Scratch Cup there. It would have, just watching, like, I think I remember carrying the scoreboard for Seamus Power and Keelan McDonough one year. I think it might even been the year that Shane Lowry won it. So, surrounded by big tournaments growing up, and you kind of see, like, this is pretty cool, and kind of wanted to be a part of it. So I think, yeah, really got into it that way. Obviously got onto Leinster panels and that growing up, and got coached and kept getting better and better, and it's addictive when you keep getting better. So that's the way it's been, and then it's still getting better now, so hopefully I can keep that trend going.
Definitely, yeah, that's the way it's been going. But before that, you also had a career in music, Liam, which I find fascinating, because I don't get normally whoever I chat to on the pod here has been golf and golf alone. Talk to us, explain what was that career, and where did you end up?
Well, I suppose Maynooth was kind of the start of it. So I was obviously big into music growing up. I was kind of golf and guitar growing up were my big two. I used to have long hair. I was a bit of a rocker, like, growing up. And I went to Maynooth, studied business and music technology. So music technology was really what I wanted to follow. Like, when I went to Maynooth, like, the team would have been like Gary Hurley, Stuart Grehan, Rona Mullarney, Robin Dawson. Like, so I saw I was pretty good, but these lads were streets ahead of me at the time. And I kind of was like, well, these lads are going to make it. I probably haven't a chance of making it as a pro. So I was thinking more of going down the music line. Studied music technology, graduated, and decided to move to LA to work in music after college. And I worked in the studio in Laurel Canyon for maybe 6 weeks when I was over there, and just despised it. Like, the music industry is a tough place to people think it's a grind as a golf pro. The music industry is even tougher. So I got lucky. I started in an indoor facility in LA working and ended up in coaching there. So Urban Golf Performance, it's an unbelievable spot. Colin Morikawa was training there. I still trains with them in West LA, and they're after opening up, I think, 5 locations now. It's an amazing place. So I learned tons there and started to play a lot more again and got way better and came back maybe 2019. I think I played maybe 3 championships. I think I was like silver medalist in the North of Ireland, and then got on to the Leinster team just as COVID happened. So that was kind of my journey coming back to golf, and then decided to turn pro just after COVID. So it was a funny time, but I'm happy with starting the PGA route once COVID happened, and obviously the K Club was a pretty nice place to do it as well. Yeah, it was a funny route. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But so when you were in college, you said you weren't good enough maybe to go pro or anything like that. But after that urban golf, what changed? You think was it a different approach to the coaching you were getting, or just you maybe belief in yourself?
Yeah, I got kind of trained as a coach and learned a lot from, like, there was Leo Rooney and Neil Hunter-Smith over there were like unbelievable coaches, and Rick Sessinghouse, who's Colin Morikawa's coach, was there. He was kind of director of mental games. So like, I was in there 8 hours a day learning from these lads, and what I learned from them I applied to my own game, and then just all of a sudden it just like clicked. My game got way better. Learned a lot more about motor learning and skill acquisition, and that's really been kind of what I try to apply to my practice, a lot what I apply to my coaching as well with people, that the practice and all that you're working on, you can transfer that from the range or the simulator like K Golf World and bring it to the golf course and actually apply it in a tournament situation. So I learned how to do that more and how to get myself better, much less swing thoughts and using external cues and different ways to train really. So that's where I feel like that knowledge and practice of doing it really helped, and it's been trending nicely since then.
Definitely, no. And speaking of, you had a recent win in a pro-am in the PGA down in Abu Dhabi. First of all, congratulations on the win. It was a Stableford event. You had 116 points after 3 rounds to secure the win. And just I wanted to ask you about strategy. Does your strategy change if that was a stroke play event? Would you have a different approach, or is it the same approach for Stableford?
I was probably a little bit more aggressive. Like, I think, what was it, 54 holes, I finished 8 under. I think I'd like 17 birdies and 9 bogeys. So I was quite aggressive in it. In that one I would, but that's the only time we play Stableford at all. It's a pretty great trip, that one. It's a fundraiser for the Down Syndrome Centre. So it's an event, but it's also a kind of a holiday for, like, we had 5 teams from the K Club went, and there was 30 teams all flew over from Ireland, play 3 amazing courses in Abu Dhabi and competition as well. So it was good for like the amateurs to see us pros playing in warm conditions in October, November, and see how good we can do. So like, we had a great field, like Gary Murphy, Brendan McGovern, and I think we're second and third to me. So it was cool to play against experienced pros like the lads, and obviously played nicely as well.
Yeah, you mentioned there playing 3 courses over 3 days. Is that tough to get into a rhythm when you're playing a different course every day?
It is, but when it's 30 degrees and the ball's going miles, it's kind of nice to adjust. It's easier than adjusting to a 40-mile-an-hour wind in the west coast of Ireland this time of year, so I can't complain.
Yeah, what are the differences in yardage, do you think, a drive or even, like I say, an 8-iron? How much further is it going?
It's, like, at home here, I played today, and like it was 1 degree before we started. Like, we frost delay, the ball was going. I think a good drive was going 270. I remember in Yaz Links one, it was 310 to carry a bunker that I carried, then hit a downslope. I think around 360. This is like 3 weeks, a month apart. I'm like, right, it's a different game. Like, so you can kind of see when the European Tour pros are playing in Abu Dhabi or somewhere like that the ball goes further in the heat. So don't be beating yourself up when it's going nowhere and when it's freezing at home here.
Yeah, the golf ball feels like a rock in these conditions. But
yeah.
What would the courses like to play? You said obviously that you're playing in November and October in conditions that you're not used to over here. Did it take a bit of adjusting in terms of practice rounds to, as you said, get back into the mindset of like, okay, I can fly that bunker instead of maybe laying up to it?
Yeah, like we played Yaz Links the Monday beforehand as a little practice round, and that was kind of enough to adjust. You figure it out fairly quick because it's kind of like you're playing middle of summer in Ireland. It's firm and fast. The ball goes. You can figure out the distance pretty quick. I suppose. Yeah, that's really the only thing, and it's drinking enough water when you're out there is kind of the other thing to adjust to. But the grain and some of the greens is quite tricky to adjust to. Abu Dhabi Golf Club it was in great nick after the Eisenhower was there not long before, so the Irish lads are over playing that, and like there's a lot of grain in them greens, so you have to nearly play your game a little bit differently trying to read that as well. But it's cool to play these places. Like obviously playing tournament golf a lot, you're used to adjusting to different conditions. So I was pretty happy enough to do it, but I know some of the other pros struggled a little while to get it when they're playing mainly in Ireland.
This is a question I've always wanted to ask anyone who's played. So, like, I've seen that course on TV loads, and in my head, some holes look the way it looks because I've seen it on TV. Is there any holes when you're there in person that look completely different than maybe in person than it does maybe on a TV camera?
In Abu Dhabi Golf Club, I suppose it's quite flat and hard to see like over corners and stuff where like you get the blimp and you can see over a lot on the TV. So that it can be kind of trickier to get lines and that kind of thing. But the one place now you'll see it a bit more, I think it's like the HSBC is in Yaz Links. It's spectacular. Like the place is amazing. Conditioning is off the charts. So that's one place that just in person looks even more beautiful. Like the place is stunning. And if you get a chance to ever go out there, play Saadiyat Beach as well. I think Gary Hurley's attached to there. It's sun golf course. It's amazing. So it was nice to play well around them.
Well, look, if you're ever going over, Liam, give me a shout and
I will.
I'll tag along. You've had a really consistent year this year, Liam. You also came third at a pro-am at your home club now, the K Club. Was that something you targeted at the start of the year to improve consistency, or has it just been a happy sort of coincidence from playing better?
Yeah, like I'm working with a coach in Scotland, Peter Arnott, and I've applying a lot of his stuff, and I felt like it didn't click early in the year. Like first while, like played well obviously in the K Club, and then had a mixed bag between like on clutch and that, and it kind of actually started to peak back towards July, August. I think I won three pro-ams and then the one in Abu Dhabi. So I'd 4 wins this year. It was nice to play pretty well. I think, yeah, I played nicely in a few, but so it was funny how it just all came together towards the end of the season. Would have been nicer to play a bit nicer early in the year, but learned a lot from that and hopefully keep it going now into next year.
Your third place finish at the K Club. Look, we all hear about local course knowledge and the advantage it gives you. What does that actually look like on a course for you playing? Where do you see you gain advantages?
Luckily in the K Club, like they're both tournaments, like elite level golf course. They would suit my game pretty well because I'm a pretty good driver of the ball. So you really have to be good off the tee and on both the north and the south course in the K Club. I love the south because a lot of the lines I can take if I'm hitting the driver well is quite aggressive. That leaves you a lot of wedges. In the pro-ams, I think that one, Damien McGrain shot 6 under, so you have to play pretty aggressively. I had a few stupid bogeys towards the end. I think I had it going. I think I got to 4 or 5 under, but finished three. So yeah, you just have to keep the foot down and be sharp. I think the weather that time was pretty good as well. So it's more mental than strategy, really. It's like being comfortable to keep the foot down, go lower, shoot a low score, and that's why I love like playing courses like that. That it's that mindset, and you test yourself against the likes of Damien McGrain and some of the other former European Tour pros in the PGA events. That's good.
That's actually a really interesting point. I hadn't planned on asking this, but just when you said there at the start, I've often heard the theory of being comfortable to go under par. So if you haven't done it before, it's very uncomfortable to be under par because it's obviously somewhere you haven't been before. Is that kind of what you're hinting at there? You've probably
Absolutely.
shot under par several times at K Club, and then you know that it's you feel comfortable.
You still have to be doing it regularly, though. It's kind of like if you haven't played in 2 months, you're like, oh, I'm 3 under, 2.5. It's like, oh, keep the foot down, as opposed to like some people start protecting their scores, like, oh, happy enough to finish 2 or 3 under, but really to get to the next level you need to be able to go to 7, 8, 9 under. So it's kind of to be able to keep going and even simulate that in your practice is a great thing to do. Like play off the red tees or something like that in your practice to get used to making loads of birdies. And for me, it's actually not making bogeys is more of a thing than making more birdies. I make plenty of them, but it's keeping the mistakes at bay. But that's one thing. Like Tiger, as a kid, used to practice up teeing off from the fairway and made things easier. That he was always used to shooting under par as a kid, and I think that's something that I'll be applying to more of my lessons and my own practice as well.
Yeah, I've heard that. I know Bryson DeChambeau was a big advocate of that too. Shooting the low 60s, and then I mean 68 seemed very comfortable. But we're speaking of the K Club. Irish Open was there this year.
Yeah.
Fantastic event. Vincent Norman shoots a final round 65 to win by 1. What's your knowledge of the course and how difficult that course I'm sure can play? How impressive was it to see that 65 to win by 1?
Yeah, like that Sunday was pretty tough. Like you saw Rory, Shane, and the ball struggling a lot more that day. So like I was working that morning and went out to watch after, and like I think by the time I was finished work at maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, they were actually, he was finished nearly, and the lads are only going into their back nine. So his 65 was so much better than anyone else did that day. It was really impressive. It was set up pretty tough. Like the rough was nuts. So you had to really be driving it well. Like I think Rory ended up hitting in the water 3 or 4 times that day. There was a little gust and caught a lot of people out. So shooting 65 the last day to sneak the win was some shooting.
You mentioned Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy were in the hunt on that final day. Was there a serious buzz among the fans when you have two Irish greats like that involved?
Oh, it was some week. Like the whole buzz around the entire week was great. Like I think the best atmosphere was probably Saturday when Rory shot 65. The weather was class. He had a drive down 18, and I don't know if any of you have played the K Club much. The line he took off the back tees was over the edge of the trees. Really, you can kind of see the fountain in the distance. It was probably 330, 340 carry on the line he did, and ended up leaving himself 150 in. Where like the average player has to go left of the bunkers, leaving themselves 230. He just cut the corner. It was amazing. So just shows you what a weapon his driver is, and he obviously used it pretty nicely.
Different game completely. The ones that most people play. 14 under, by no means a huge score over 4 days. Is that a testament, as you said, to how tough that course can be?
Yeah, like we were even looking before it when Rory won in 2016 was 12 under. So it's a tournament golf course. It's really well set up, and Jerry Byrne, the head greenkeeper, has been doing tournaments for well before the Ryder Cup and has a lot of experience in setting up the venue to be pretty good test for the pros. So on a day-to-day outing for a lot of visitors during the year, they'll make the tees and pins a little bit easier just to get around the course. But yeah, he can really set the course up how he likes. And obviously the bit of investment in the last few years since Michael Federson's took over has paid huge dividends. The fairways were so pure since they redid them all a couple of years ago. So it's an exciting place to be in the K Club the last while. Yeah,
you mentioned that Irish Open's coming back 2025, 2027, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a lot of excitement around the club of how good this course can be even in a couple of years' time, and how big of an event it can be?
Yeah, we're lucky with a lot of tournament golf because the alternate years 24 and 26 we have the Challenge Tour event on the South course, so we're getting very used to hosting tournaments. And Michael's a big supporter of Irish golf, so he really wanted to have all the best players, best pros. Like even the year before, we had the biggest pro-am in Europe, 100 grand prize fund. I was lucky enough to finish second to Stuart Gretton in that one, so I was pretty happy with that. But it just shows you like Michael's such a big supporter of Irish golf, and you can see it in the K Club in the last while.
Definitely, and one of the new additions recently has been K Golf World. Which I've looked up online. It looks absolutely incredible. But can you explain to us, who people aren't aware, what is K Golf World?
Yeah, so it's an 8-bay simulator facility with sports bar, music, sports on the TV. It's a great spot. So there's 8 Unicore QED simulators, and we actually have a GC Quad as well. So if you need any more detail, we've more club data with the GC Quad. But for gameplay, the QED is unreal. It's a great atmosphere in there. Like people come in. There's a membership now over this winter, so people come in regularly practicing and use it as a range, or you can bring in friends and have 4 people play a 4-ball around Augusta National or anywhere you like. So it's pretty cool to like even during some of the majors we'll put on an event where you play the same course as they're teeing off the back nine, and you play the same course as you're watching the golf. So it's a pretty great place to practice and play and have a bit of fun with a few pals as well.
Yeah, I've experienced a few simulators. They're a lot of fun. And do you feel if to me it's a great way of getting people who may not be into golf in the same way that obviously the sickos like we're always invested in it. But we all have mates who are sort of into it, but then might not have the time. How great is somewhere like the K Golf World for people like that?
Yeah, because you can do it as long as you want. Book in for an hour or whatever, and it's not like a full round of golf, which 3-4 hours. Like you can do it much quicker. It's a little bit nicer weather this time of year. You're inside, it's 20 degrees and it's warm and it's more comfortable, and have a couple of drinks. So it's a bit more relaxed than like what you'd be out on the golf course. But it's a great way to kind of get people into the game. Like we have a lot of beginners, like junior coaching and stuff. This time of year we'll do it all in K Golf World, and even with like hotel guests coming down, like some of them mightn't have played, and if we're there we'll just give them a few pointers, give them a hand, and just really encourage them to play and get into the game. So it's a great introduction, and it's a nice setting to be indoors this time of year, and a bit more encouraging for people to take it up and play indoors really.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of skepticism out there when it regards to working on your game in a simulator. I disagree with that. Is that something you feel like you can still work on your game with a simulator?
Yeah, like it gives you great feedback, but it's like using a simulator, you need to know how to use the tool, and like you can use it to measure certain things and then use that to improve your game. So like I suppose it's how you practice. If you just aimlessly beat balls, you're not going to gain anything. But if you're working on something specific, you can create performance games, make it more real through the games you play versus like just beating balls aimlessly. If you go to a range and just hit rapid fire 100 balls, you're not getting much out of it either way. So it's the same thing as using a driving range. Like you're not on a golf course, but at least in K Golf we're simulating a golf course. You're playing holes, you're more strategic with picking clubs. You can see elevation, wind, all that stuff on the simulator. Obviously it's not quite the same as playing outside, but this time of year it's the best you can do. So you can use it really.
Definitely, it's brilliant. And another great thing is it's hosting the Chip and Chat, which is taking place tomorrow on the 30th at K Golf World. For anyone, you've already heard me talk about it, but anyone who isn't familiar, Chip and Chat aims to provide an engaging, fun and safe space for women of all abilities to connect with those of a similar age and play golf in a variety of ways. And that's what we were talking about there, Liam, is a lot of women who are not maybe have never got into golf but are maybe interested in it. This is a fantastic way to get introduced to the world of golf, like we all did when we were younger and we got hooked. And this is definitely a way for people to get hooked. And where better to do it at the K Golf World. But it must be exciting to see all these kind of new faces coming into golf, and it's a great thing for both Chip and Chat and the K Golf World.
Exactly. Like I think the thing when we got into golf first as kids, like it's such a social game. Like people think it's you're playing by yourself, you're not in a team, but you're playing with 3-4 other people. Like you're meeting people, you're chatting, you're gaining new friends, especially as a kid. And kind of like for ladies obviously coming to the Chip and Chat event tomorrow in K Golf World, they'll have that opportunity, have a bit of fun, don't take it too seriously, learn a new skill and have a bit of fun and meet new people. So it's a great way to actually do that. And like the benefit of K Golf World is it's evening time, it's dark, it's raining, it's snowing, whatever outside, you can come in and still play golf and meet new people and gain a new skill. So it's the best we can get this time of year. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely, and it's been it's a fantastic initiative. It's been received brilliantly by anyone who's participated, and where better to do it than, as you said, at the K Golf World. So everyone who's going there tomorrow, enjoy it. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant evening, and keep an eye out for upcoming events. I'm sure next year as well. For the Chip and Chat. But Liam, we've kept you here long enough. Thank you so much for taking your time out to chat to us here. It's been absolutely brilliant to pick your brain. Best of luck, I said, next season as well. We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks for having us on, Stephen. Best of luck with it all.
Thank you to Liam there for spending time with us here at the Golf Ireland pod. Absolutely fascinating to speak to him and pick his brain. A really good golfing brain, as I'm sure you heard there throughout our discussion. And yes, that is it. That wraps up the final episode of the Golf Ireland pod for 2023. I want to say thank you personally for everyone who's tuned in and supported the podcast. It has meant a lot for us here at Golf Ireland Pod, for everyone tuning in. And we are delighted to bring this podcast to you to highlight some of the amateur golf in this country and the highlights and just how brilliant it is, because it really is. We really do appreciate it. We've loved doing it every week. It's been absolutely brilliant speaking to some of the best golfers in the country. That's been a highlight for me personally, is getting to know these people a little bit better and shining their personalities through a little bit more, not just their golfing talents. And it means a lot getting the support from everyone listening at home as well. But yes, we will be back in early 2023 to start all over again, and to kick off the new season in 2024. So we will be very excited to bring it back to you then, and it'll be even bigger and better in 2024. So as I said, thank you so much once again, and we will see you all in 2024.